Hey guys, it's RebeccaLynOberstadt. In today's video, I'm going to be working on 4 looks, 1 palette. I'm not going to be using anything but the palette and like eyeliner and stuff like that. So this is the Raw Beauty Kristi at Forest Sight palette. This is a very fall color story palette. And here are 2 different looks than the first 2 looks that I did with the first impression video. And I'm kind of really liking this burgundy one over here. I didn't even realize there was like a cranberry-ish burgundy shade in here. And I saw my friend Grace use this like purple red color. I'm like, that's not in the palette, is it? And I got looking and I'm like, oh, it's in the palette. So yeah, I used 3 colors on this eye and 3 colors on this eye. Colors that I didn't use in the first video. And there is 1 shade, this Emerald City shade, left in the palette that I haven't used yet. So I will probably do a look with that. And then I will probably start doing looks with the palette and the Super Shocks, just in case people bought both, or they bought like 1 color instead of all 4. I got the entire kit. I will be selling the lip glosses separate because I'm not a lip gloss person. Anyways, here are the first 2 looks. I didn't talk through any of it. I was listening to music. I am using the Honey palette for a mirror because it has one and this palette does not. So I wasn't dipping into this at all. I was just using it for a mirror since this one doesn't have one. Let me know what you guys think. Looks 1 and 2 here, and yeah, I will see you guys at the end. The next 2 looks I do, I probably won't talk through those either when I'm recording. If I do talk at all, it will be a voiceover when I'm sitting at my computer to edit it after I cut out every time I do this, and every time I do this, and every time I do this. So that's things that I have had people in the past tell me that they don't like seeing in a video. I like to leave everything else in. Every time I blend, every time I add color, every time I dip back in the pan. And you know, I'll look down for a second to get color and then come back up. I leave those in. But for the most part, anything else, like if I'm doing this so I can color switch my brush, and I'm using a new e.l.f. brush. This is, it just says eyeshadow brush. It's a little short, fat shader brush, and I used it for both eye looks, and I really like it. It's like $2. Yeah, if anytime I'm like looking away to do that, I will cut that out. Just so you guys know what brushes I use. This is a BH Studio Pro 17. It's what I used with no product on it to buff out the lower lash line. I used the e.l.f. eyeshadow brush for the majority of the work. And this one is a Gouache eye shader brush. That's what I used for like the lid color in the center of this color. And then last, I got this wet. This was an M213 brush from Morphe. I wish I could find something like this in another brand because I really do not want to mention Morphe on my channel. And that was it. That was all the brushes I used. So 3 main eye brushes and 1 to blend, and that was it. So you don't need a whole lot of brushes, just a couple that you really like. And yeah, you can do quite a bit with it. I had 2 other brushes on the counter, both BH brushes, but I didn't end up using them. So I had them, I was prepared, but I didn't need them. Anyways, I will see you guys later. I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the looks, and I will see you at the very end. And I'll be wearing a different shirt. Oh, and this is my Christmas shirt, just so you guys can see it. Here's what it looks like. And then the words. It says, "Oh yeah, Santa thinks you've been real good." And of course, Santa's taking a crap down your chimney, so. I bought this when I was in my 20s. Probably the best 25 bucks I ever spent. I've had it for almost 20, well, probably about 20 years, 17 to 20. Best shirt ever. Everybody always gets a kick out of it. I really like this shirt. I really need to do something with that design. So anyways, I'll see you later. Alright guys, hopefully my voice lasts through this. This is the shade Rainier. That is a brand new e.l.f. shader brush that I picked up at Walmart for $2. I have not really had any issues with any of these shades not wanting to blend, not wanting to build. This is a super easy to work with palette. I think anybody of any skill level can use this palette. This is a really pretty, like, hello camera, reddish brown shade, or an orangey red brown shade. And as you see, it like blends right out. And then of course I go back in and build up where my actual socket of my eye crease is. And I apologize in advance, the camera likes to stare at the door, so there are several times in this video that you will find that the camera is looking at the door. This is a Gouache brush. See, it's like in the door. And I went into the shade Evergreen, which is the green shimmer in the palette. I then went in with my finger because I noticed that it was kind of sheer, and this shade can be built up. I also found that if you put Fiddlehead underneath of it, it shows up a whole lot better. Now going into Amanita and Rainier again. I put that on the outer edge to like darken it. That Amanita shade is like a purplish red, and then mixing it with that orangey red brown shade makes a really pretty like burgundy color, or cranberry burgundy. And then I go back over it with Evergreen again to like blend the two shades together. And now for the under eye, going back into Rainier, and I basically use the same brushes for these eye looks throughout all 4 eye looks that I do. And I'm putting that up really close to the lower lash line. And it's funny because it's close to that other red shade. It looks more red under my eye than it does in my crease, which is perfectly okay with me. That is a little Morphe brush. I ended up having to get it wet to get anything to come off of that brush. And again, sorry, I was too low there. When I'm doing eye looks, I don't really stare at the viewfinder on the camera to see where I'm at. You see, I glance there for a second, and then I go back. And then I'm building up with whatever's left on the outer edge. But that's a really pretty green, green shade. Now, going into the other eye, I am starting off bold. This is the Let It Rain shade. It's black with like burgundy glitter in it. It's really a pretty shade. But as you see, there's like, it's mainly just black on my eye with little bits of sparkle. You can kind of see it when the light hits it from the ring light. And I'm building it up and then kind of shearing it out. This is a brownish purple based black. It's not like a blue black or a purple black, but there's like a hint of brown to it. If you can see up where my crease is, it looks a little bit more brown. Now going into the Amanita shade to pack over that, because I wanted a really rich red shade, which is why I put the black underneath of it, so that it would bring out the darkness in that shade a little bit more. It's very a very big contrast from the other eye for sure. The other eye, I mean, is kind of work appropriate. Depends on where you work. But I really like this color. This is really a perfect fall palette. Definitely a fall color story palette. And just packing that color on, making sure things are blended, going back over the black shade. And I'm using that same e.l.f. brush for all of it. Again, it's a $2 brush, and it worked amazingly. I'm always shocked at how good their brushes are. Now, going into the West Coast shade, it's this really pretty gold, and I used my finger because I wanted that metallic hint. And of course, I ended up with fallout in my lashes and on my nose and halfway down my face. And then taking the same e.l.f. brush again into Let It Rain to I don't know what that blip was just now, but to smoke out the lower lash line. And I ended up wearing a mauve eyeliner, or like a purple eyeliner from Pixie, in my waterline. So that's why my under eye looks so reddish pink already before I put the Amanita shade down. It was because of the liner. Now this is a clean BH blending brush, and I just wanted to smoke out that lower lash line and pull that color out a little bit more and bring some of that red back to the look. And then going back in with the Morphe brush into that gold shade and copying what I did up above below. And that brush, I ended up having to get it wet to get that shade to work on that brush. And I just dip my brush in water and then shake off some of the excess and then dip it in the pan to pick up product. I mean, you could pick up product and then dip it in the water, and I find that what happens is the gold glitter in the shadow ends up floating on top of the water. So I do it the other way around. And these are the first 2 looks. This is just 4 looks with the palette only. I did record 4 more looks with the palette and the Super Shocks, just in case somebody did pick up any of those, so that you could see how they work. These are really, really simple, easy eye looks. And the one eye is kind of like a faux halo eye, where I put the gold over that burgundy shade. I mean, if you wanted to, you could cut the crease and use concealer or something to cut out that piece and then stick the gold over it. But again, with the darker shade underneath of it, it makes the gold look more like a copper shade, which is what I wanted. Okay, now for eye look number 3, I'm going into Emerald City. It was one of the shades that I really hadn't worked with, and this is a Vasanti brush that I'm working with here. It's one of my favorite little blending eye brushes. And I am doing a halo eye on this one. As you can see, I'm leaving the center pretty much blank. And then I'm connecting it in the crease and blending out as I go. And I realized I went a little too far in and up on the inner part of my eye, which I just kind of took care of that with my finger. That's a really pretty shade. It's like a green with a hint of like hunter green and a touch of blue thrown in. It's a really pretty shade. And then I went back in with that Beau Gouache brush, which is a little short, fat shader brush, a little packing brush, just to deepen up the edges just a little bit, so that when I put the shade in the center, it's more impactful. And you'll see here in a minute when I add the shimmer shade. And then blendy, 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 so we don't get any harsh lines. So far, we've only used one color. Now, with my finger into Evergreen, look how pretty that is. It's like green with an orange shift. I could have put the green all over and then packed over it, but look, this is with a wet Morphe brush. Look at how pretty that is. You can see the orange from that angle, and then you can see like the green shift to it. And as I move my eye, you can see some of the different colors to it. It's a really pretty shadow. And the fact that she only put 2 shimmers in this palette, I think it works out well. The 2 shimmers that she chose to stick in the palette, I think work really well. And then I added the Evergreen shade to my brow bone area and then did my under eye. I'm like, wait a minute, what green was I in? Oh yeah, the Emerald City. I almost went into PNW. That's a whole other shade, and it's definitely more blue. I'm using that Beau Gouache brush to do the under eye instead of the little e.l.f. brush that I was using in the other 2 eye looks, and or the Vasanti brush. And then I noticed that the outer edge got a little bit messed up from my concealer application, so I went back over that just a hair. And then placing that Evergreen shade again on the inner corner underneath the front of my tear duct, pressing over it so that it kind of stays and doesn't flake off my eyes, and then just blending everything together. I'm really enjoying this palette. I wouldn't have thought that I liked some of these colors, but then I think back to that ABH Subculture palette, and I really liked the color story of that one, and this is very, very similar. Now for look number 4, I am mixing Homegrown, which is a brown, to the Amanita shade. Homegrown's more like a bricky red, but the Amanita shade has that more like cranberry base. So it's kind of neat how the 2 colors, you can see there's a little bit of a difference towards my inner eye versus the outer part of my eye from where I'm mixing those 2 colors on my eye. I really like the color combo. And you can mix almost any of these colors. Now I do kind of fuck up here in a minute, and I add another color that didn't quite blend well into those 2 right there. And that was a me problem. That wasn't a shadow problem. That was I picked a color that kind of clashed with the other 2, and it ended up making the eye look a little patchy. And here we go. Yep, I just stepped in it. That's Fiddlehead. It is in like olive green color, and trying to mix that over the edges did not go as planned. It ended up, if you look, it looks a little patchy right there on the outer third of my eye, just past the arch of my eyebrow, and it looks like it's missing shadow there. It's not. It's just that green didn't mix well with the other 2 shades, and it didn't turn out so good. Now back into West Coast. This brush is wet. That is a Morphe. I think it's a 213 brush. Again, if anybody has any recommendations for another brand that has a brush that's this little short paddle brush kind of style that's rounded, it's kind of like what I would consider a squoval, let me know. I will definitely go out of my way to go buy it. It's a tiny brush, maybe 6 millimeters wide, but I really like what it does when I need it to do stuff like this. It works really good at packing on shimmer shades, no matter how difficult the shimmer shade is to get to work. And I'm building up that West Coast shade so it's opaque. You can put it on and it's very sheer, or you can do what I'm doing and build it up, and it builds up to be rather opaque so you don't see your eyelid through the eyeshadow. And then I'm just mixing Homegrown and Amanita again and putting that on the outer edge, and then blending with that. I'm actually using the BH brush here. I must have picked up the wrong one. And then I press over my shadows on my lid because I have very hooded, deep set eyes. Well, that eye is definitely deep set. And now we're doing the under eye. And I'm wearing Woodsy as a liner in that eye, which is the brown liner from Kristi's Collab. And I'm just blowing out the lower lash. I know a lot of people don't like wearing shadow on the lower lash, but because my face is so long and narrow, I find it helps draw some width to the center of my face a little bit more when I put shadow under my eyes. I look really strange when I don't put shadow under my eyes. So if that's something that you don't like, then don't do it. It's really whatever fits your face. You can use similar placement techniques on your own eyes to get them to match how they look on your face. And here are looks 3 and 4. Let me know what you guys think down below, if you like one look over the other. And again, this was just with the palette. I do have 4 looks coming that include the other, like the Super Shocks and the palette. So those will be coming soon to my channel. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this tutorial and voiceover. Hey guys, so this is the end of the 4 looks using the At Forest site palette. I only used the palette and of course the liners to do the look. This side, I don't know why it looks a little unblended on camera. It's like that one spot, it looks like it's unblended. So anyways, I have used all of the shades in the palette at least once. This eye over here is Emerald City and Evergreen. This eye over here, I mixed Amanita and Homegrown. I then added Fiddlehead up here, which might be why it looks a little unblended because that green and the maroon kind of fought. And then I used West Coast. This palette only has 2 shimmer shades in it, so if you like an all matte look, which I'm not really a fan of, an all matte look I like on my finger, I don't know how that happened. If you like an all matte look, that's good for you because this palette would be perfect. You can do dark, you can do like dark, you can do grungy, you can do some of the lighter looks with the top row here and you know, just kind of skip the color, the metallic colors in the palette. I will try and do 4 looks as well with the Super Shocks. I didn't use any of them in these looks because this was just for the palette. So if you bought any of the Super Shock shadows, any of the 4 that they came out with, or if you bought them individually, let me know if you want to see specific colors together because I have all of the collection. The only thing I'm not using is the gloss. This is actually the Dominique Cosmetics Strawberry Lemonade lip gloss. Blush is Dome Beauty, highlight is Ofra, and bronzer is Essence Matte Bronze in the lightest shade. It's actually, because I have a little bit of sun, it's actually a little bit too light for me right now, so that's a bonus. And brows is Model Co. So that's everything. Mascara's Tarte Lash Paint. It's almost dead, so after this video I'm gonna like toss it in my to get rid of container so I don't try and use it again because it really is dead. And the other mascara on the tray that I pulled a couple weeks ago is also dead, and that is the Bad Gal Bang mascara from Benefits. So I have 2 dead mascaras on my tray. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. I didn't talk through any of the 4 looks. I did show you the colors that I used, and then I went into the application technique. I will cut out anytime I do this or I do this. so that you guys don't have to watch that. I mean, I know I don't like looking at the top of my head when I'm editing, so I don't figure you guys want to. I mean, I have that nice pretty gray patch right in the middle, but I don't think people really give a crap about my gray hair. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. I'll be pictures for these looks will definitely go up on my Patreon first before this video even gets edited and put onto YouTube. That's where I've been posting my pictures, because since my hard drive crashed, I'm glad that I posted so many pictures on my Patreon, because I lost the pictures when the hard drive stopped working. So, and I do not have the money to buy a new hard drive, which is like $300, because the hard drive that died is 6 terabytes and I only have a 5 terabyte drive. And in order to recover, like try and repair and recover the entire drive, I need to have something with the same amount of space, if not more. So I'm looking at replacing it with either another 6, an 8, or 12 terabyte hard drive, but those are pricey. So until I can do that, I have lost all my pictures, like from like 4 months and before that, 4 months ago and before that, all the pictures I've had, all my Halloween looks that I did last year were all lost. All the Christmas looks that I did last year were all lost. So I can't even try and like recreate looks unless I pull them up on Instagram, and I didn't post everything on Instagram. So now I'm using Patreon to like kind of use it as like a photo storage, but it's also for you guys to see the looks coming up before I post the videos, because sometimes I post pictures on there and then 4 weeks later the video finally goes up because I film and edit randomly. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I am mixing up my content on this channel. It's not just makeup, because I've been dealing with a lot of allergies. I'm surprised I made it through recording all 4 looks without sneezing once. Thankfully my eyes haven't been itching and watering lately, which is also a bonus. So I was able to film 2 days back to back. I haven't been able to do that in a while because of allergies. So anyways, let me know what you guys think of the 4 Looks 1 palette using the Raw Beauty Kristi X Colourpop at Forest Site palette. Again, this is what I was talking about when I mentioned a fall color story palette. The only thing it's really missing is a navy blue, like that really yellow based navy blue shade that I would also think of for you know, wintertime. But it has the purple, it's got the browns, it's got the teals, it's got the greens, it's got some of the lighter tones, the mustard yellow, the orangey yellow, the gold, the like moss green. Those are the colors that I was talking about when I was talking about a fall color story palette. So hopefully you guys enjoy, and I will see you in another video very soon.